Why is Donald Trump such a threat to the establishment? It's very simple. Nobody owns him. He owes nothing to anybody. Let's remember, we take it for granted, but in 2016, America did something they'd never ever done before since the Revolutionary War. 63 million Americans chose an individual who'd never served in public office before. From George Washington to Barack Obama, every single president for 44 presidents was either a former senator, congressman, governor, or general, like Eisenhower or Washington. We elected for the first time somebody who was unbeholden to anyone. Nobody owns Donald Trump, not Big Pharma, not tobacco, not the unions, and therefore he is a danger to all vested interests on right and left. When I came into the White House, Peter, for the first 4 or 5 weeks, I refused to use the phrase deep state. I thought it had a little tinge of tinfoil hattery about it. But then I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it at meetings of the National Security Council, classified meetings of the top bureaucrats in America. We'd go into a skiff and we'd be talking about some big issue like China or Iran, and we'd have the CIA, the DIA, the NSA, the Joint Chiefs, and I'd sit there as a political appointee for an hour and a half, and not one of these bureaucrats mentioned either the president's name or what the president wished to achieve with regards to that issue. And it was left up to me, time and again, after an hour and a half, the person with the strange accent in the room to say, gentlemen, ladies, you do know what the commander-in-chief said yesterday in Riyadh. You do know what the president said about ISIS or China. Can we do what he actually wants America to do? That should not be the case. But that's the deep state. That's, Colonel, don't call me Mr. Alexander Vindman.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
When he testifies in uniform, in dress blues, he actually used these words as an 05. I was concerned by the president's phone call, and I felt it my duty to defend the interagency consensus from the president. Hang on a minute, Colonel Vindman. When I went into the voting booth in 2016, I didn't see 3 boxes. I didn't see Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, interagency consensus. Who the hell do you think you are? Foreign policy and national security is the president's domain. It's not even Congress's. It's not Nancy Pelosi, who's the commander-in-chief. You think that you get to decide above the man who's been chosen by 63 million? Who elected you, Sasha Vindman? Nobody. That's the deep state. When you have EU Ambassador Sondland, the star witness of the Democratic impeachment, finally get asked by a congressman, is it true, at the end of the day, is it true that Donald Trump rang you up and said these words, I want nothing, there must be no quid pro quo?
I'm curious, was that vignette in your opener today?
I don't think so.
How come? It's so memorable, so striking.
I don't know. It was in my previous testimony, and I assumed if people had questions, they would bring it up.
Okay. I mean, this is an example, a lot of witnesses during the course of this investigation have dealt with ambiguities in different ways, and some have resolved them in the light least favorable to the president over and over again. This is an exculpatory fact shedding some light on the president's state of mind about the situation about the,
And I'm happy to discuss it.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering why you didn't mention it in your opener.
There were so many things I wanted to include in my opening, and my opening was already, I think, 45 minutes or something. It would have been an hour and a half.
You said to the President of the United States, what do you want from Ukraine? The President, I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo. I want Zelensky to do the right thing. I want him to do what he ran on. What did he run on, Ambassador Sondland?
Transparency.
And dealing with corruption, right?
That's right.
Mr. Castro raised another important point. Why didn't you put that statement in your opening statement? I think you said you couldn't fit it in. Is that right? Said we might be here for 46 minutes instead of 45 minutes.
It wasn't purposeful, trust me.
Wasn't purposeful?
No.
Couldn't fit it in a 23-page opener.
There are a lot of things I'd like to have mentioned.
Okay, but you only had a couple conversations with the president. And we're trying to evaluate whether
it was not purposeful, trust me.
And then the congressman says, why did you not mention that in your 23-page opening statement? I ran out of time. Did you, hell? You're the deep state. That's why Donald Trump is a threat to the establishment.